Commander Thalrex looked at the blue planet on his display screen. It looked peaceful, small, easy to conquer. His 12 warships moved through the dark space toward Earth. He smiled. This would be another simple mission. This species barely flies in their own atmosphere, one of his officers said. They will surrender quickly, Thalrex nodded. The Varlan Collective had done this many times before. Find a primitive world, take what they needed, move on. The Galactic Council allowed it. These humans were not part of galactic society. They had no rights, no protection. The year was 2187. Earth had just started reaching out to the stars. They had small colonies on Mars and the Moon. They built research stations near Jupiter. But compared to the Varlan fleet, they were children playing with toys. Send the message, Thalrex ordered. The Varlan ships broadcast their demands in 17 different languages. Surrender now. Give us your resources. Accept our rule or die. The message repeated over and over. Thalrex waited for an answer. He got silence. They ignore us, his weapons officer said. Should we show them our power? Yes, fire on their military bases. Make them understand. The Varlan ships opened fire. Bright beams of energy shot down from orbit. They hit military bases in Seoul, Tokyo, New York, and Moscow. Buildings exploded. Fires burned. People died. Over 1 million humans died in those first terrible minutes. Thalrex watched the destruction. He felt satisfied. Now they would surrender. Now they would beg for mercy. He waited for their plea to stop the attack. Instead, something else happened. Deep underground in a secure bunker beneath the mountains of Korea, General Kang Minho watched the attacks on his screens. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes burned with cold anger. Around him, other officers waited for his orders. They think we are weak, Kang said quietly. They think we are prey. They are wrong. He pressed a button on his desk. A red light began flashing. Across Earth and throughout the solar system, hidden systems activated. Weapons that had been built in secret for 50 years came online. Earth had known about aliens for a long time. They had prepared. They had planned. And they had hidden their true strength. Activate Protocol Ragnarok, Kang ordered. On the Moon, massive railguns emerged from hidden bunkers. They had been disguised as mining equipment for decades. Now they rotated toward the Varlan fleet. Each gun was as long as a city block. Each projectile moved faster than a bullet from a rifle. Near Jupiter, what looked like science stations suddenly transformed. Their outer shells fell away. Underneath were warships. Dozens of them. They had been built slowly, carefully, hidden in plain sight. Now they powered up their engines and turned toward Earth. On Mars, underground factories opened. Thousands of small drones flew out. Each one carried weapons. Each one moved with deadly purpose, and from Earth itself came the most terrible weapon of all. Dr. Han Soo-jin had spent 20 years developing it. Quantum entanglement missiles. They did not fly through space. They simply appeared inside enemy ships. No shields could stop them. No armor could block them. Thalrex saw his screens light up with warnings. Attacks from all directions. Weapons he had never seen before. Technologies the Galactic Council said these primitives could not possibly have. Shields up. Return fire, he shouted, but it was too late. The Moon's railguns fired first. Solid metal projectiles moving at incredible speed slammed into 3 Varlan ships. The ships exploded instantly. Their shields meant nothing against pure kinetic force. Then the quantum missiles struck. They appeared inside 4 more ships. The explosions came from within. There was no defense, no escape. The ships died in seconds. The Mars drones swarmed 2 more ships. Thousands of small attacks, each one alone meant nothing. Together they overwhelmed the shields. The ships tried to run. The drones followed. More explosions lit up the darkness. The fleet from Jupiter arrived. Human ships. Real warships. Not primitive, not weak. They moved with deadly grace. Their weapons fired with brutal accuracy. 2 more Varlan ships died. In 30 minutes, 11 of the 12 Varlan ships were destroyed. Only Thalrex's flagship remained, and it was badly damaged. Systems failing. Crew dying. Hull breached in a dozen places. Retreat, Thalrex screamed. Emergency jump now! His ship charged its hyperspace drive. Human fighters closed in. Weapons fired. The flagship's shields collapsed. But the jump activated just in time. The ship vanished, leaving behind only wreckage and bodies. Admiral Park Ji-won commanded the human fleet. She watched the enemy escape on her screens. She wanted to pursue, but she knew there would be time for that later. "Let them go," she said. "Let them tell their masters what happened here. Let them spread the word." Back on Earth, General Kang stood in front of a camera. He recorded a message. His face was hard. His voice was cold. But his words carried to every human base, every ship, every colony. "Today, aliens attacked our home. They killed our people. They thought we were weak. They learned the truth. We are not victims. We are not prey. We are humanity. And we will never kneel." He paused. Then he continued, "They will come again. More ships. More weapons. They will try to destroy us. But we knew this day would come. We have prepared for 50 years. We built weapons in secret. We trained for this war. We are ready." Around the world, humans watched his message. In the ruins of Seoul, survivors dug through rubble. In Tokyo, firefighters battled blazes. In New York and Moscow, medics treated the wounded. Over 1 million had died. Cities lay in ruins. But humanity had survived, and they had won. Lieutenant Kim Doyen sat in his fighter cockpit, floating near Mars. He was young, only 25 years old, but he had just fought in humanity's first space battle. His squadron had destroyed 2 enemy ships. He looked at the debris field on his screen. "Is it over?" his wingman asked over the radio. Doyen shook his head even though no one could see him. "No," he said. "This is just the beginning." He was right. Far away in another part of the galaxy, Commander Thalrex limped home, his ship barely functional, his crew dead or dying. He would report to the Galactic Council. He would tell them about the humans, about their weapons, about their strength. But he did not understand what he had done. He thought the Council would send a larger fleet. More ships, more power. He thought it was just a military problem. He was wrong. Humanity had just announced itself to the galaxy, not as victims, not as a species to be conquered, but as warriors, as survivors, as a force that would fight back. The galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council met in their grand chamber on Nexus Prime. The station floated at the center of the galaxy, a symbol of their power. For 10,000 years, the Council had ruled. They made the laws. They controlled trade. They decided which species lived and which died. 12 beings sat in a circle. Each represented a powerful species. Each had conquered hundreds of worlds. They believed nothing could challenge them. Commander Thalrex stood before them. His body was wrapped in medical bandages. His ship had barely survived the journey back. Of the 12 ships he had commanded, only his remained, and it was destroyed. He would never command a fleet again. "Tell us what happened," High Chancellor Vexthor demanded. He was ancient, his crystalline body glowing with cold blue light. "How did a primitive species destroy an entire Varlan fleet?" Thalrex explained everything. The attack on Earth, the hidden weapons, the technology they had never expected, the brutal counterattack that destroyed 11 ships in 30 minutes. As he spoke, the council members listened. Some looked interested. Most looked dismissive. "This is impossible," Councillor Ralseth said. He was Varlan, like Thalrex. His pride was wounded. A species that barely flies in space cannot have such weapons. "You must have made a mistake. Your fleet was weak. Your tactics were poor." "No!" Thalrex shouted. Then he lowered his voice. "I followed standard procedures. The humans were ready. They knew we would come. They had prepared for decades." One council member leaned forward. Ambassador Kira Lin was different from the others. Her species, the observers, had existed for millions of years. They watched. They learned. They rarely spoke. But when they did, wise beings listened. "I have reviewed the battle records," she said. Her voice was soft but clear. "The humans show patterns we have seen before. Rapid technological advancement, strong survival instinct, willingness to sacrifice for their species. These patterns are dangerous." "Dangerous," Vexthor laughed. "They are one species on one world. We control thousands of species across millions of worlds. How can they be dangerous?" "Because they do not know they should lose," Kira Lin replied. "They do not accept defeat. They do not surrender. Species like this have destroyed empires before." The council chamber erupted in argument. Some agreed with Kira Lin. They said humanity should be left alone, perhaps even invited to join the council. Others, especially Ralseth, demanded immediate action. The humans had to be crushed, made an example, shown their place. Finally, Vexthor raised his hand. Silence fell. "We will vote," he said. "Should we send a larger fleet to enforce council law? Or should we negotiate with these humans?" The vote was not close. 10 council members voted for war. Only Kirillin and one other voted for peace. The decision was made. The humans would be taught a lesson. The galaxy would see what happened to species that resisted council authority. "Deploy Battlefleet 73, Vexthor ordered. 500 ships. Elite crews. The best weapons. Destroy their military. Occupy their world. Make them kneel." Admiral Dralvex received the command with pride. He was famous across the galaxy. He had conquered 47 species. He had never lost a battle. He studied the reports about humanity with amusement. Hidden weapons, clever tactics, it meant nothing. Numbers always won, and he had 500 ships. "Prepare the fleet," he told his officers. "We leave in 2 months. These humans will learn what real power looks like." But Ambassador Kirillin did something the council would consider treason. She encrypted a message. She sent it to Earth through hidden channels. The message was simple but clear. "You impressed them. Now they will try to break you." 500 ships, 2 months. Admiral Dralvex commands. He is skilled, ruthless, never defeated. Prepare for the storm. On Earth, General Kang read the message. He sat alone in his office. The cities were still burning. The bodies were still being counted. His people had won 1 battle, but they had paid in blood. And now a much larger enemy was coming. He called his senior officers, Admiral Park Jiwon, Dr. Han Soo-jin, Commander Lee Hana from Intelligence. They gathered in the war room deep underground. 2 months, Kang said. 500 ships. Can we win? Park studied the tactical displays. 500 ships against maybe 50 human vessels. 10-to-1 odds. Not in a straight fight. We need to be smarter. Dr. Han Soo-jin spoke next. She looked tired. Her teams had worked without rest since the battle. "I have 3 new weapon systems. Experimental, dangerous, but they might work." "Show me," Kang said. Soo-jin brought up holographic displays. The first showed quantum beacons. "We can disrupt their faster-than-light drives. Trap them in our solar system. They cannot escape. They must fight or die." The second display showed strange devices scattered through the asteroid belt. Autonomous platforms. Thousands of them. Hidden. Waiting. They will activate when the enemy arrives. The third display showed the moon. But something was different. "We hollow out the interior. Build the largest mass driver ever created. We turn our moon into a weapon." Kang listened. Then he nodded. "Do it. Spare no expense. Use every resource. We have 2 months to prepare. If we lose, humanity ends. We will not lose." Across Earth and throughout the solar system, humanity mobilized. Every shipyard worked day and night. Every factory produced weapons. Every scientist developed new technologies. Every soldier trained for the battle ahead. Lieutenant Kim Doyen and his squadron received new fighters. Faster, more maneuverable. Equipped with weapons that made their old craft look like toys. They trained constantly, practiced every maneuver, prepared for every scenario. "We are 40 pilots," Doyen said to his squadron. "They are sending 500 ships. Each of us must destroy 12 enemy vessels. It is not impossible. It is just difficult," his pilots laughed. But it was nervous laughter. They all knew what was coming. Some of them would not survive. Maybe none of them would. But they would fight. They would make the enemy pay for every meter of space. Earth also began moving civilians. Non-essential personnel evacuated to Proxima Centauri. Children, elderly, scientists, artists. If Earth fell, humanity would survive. The species would continue. General Kang made sure of it, but he did not intend to lose Earth. The planet was their home. Their birthplace, where humanity had struggled and grown and learned to reach the stars. They would defend it. Or they would die trying. As the weeks passed, the solar system transformed into a fortress. Weapons platforms hid in asteroid fields. Ships waited behind moons and planets. Traps were set. Ambushes prepared. Every advantage humanity could create, they created. Admiral Park Ji-won stood on the bridge of her flagship. She looked at the tactical display showing all their forces. It was impressive. But was it enough? "Admiral," her communications officer said. "General Kang wants to broadcast a message, system-wide. Put him on all channels. Kang's face appeared on every screen across human space. On Earth, Mars, the Moon, Jupiter, every ship, every station, every outpost. His expression was hard. His voice was steady. In 3 days, the enemy arrives. They send 500 ships to destroy us, to enslave us, to make us submit. They believe numbers will win. They believe we will break. They are wrong, he paused, then continued. We have prepared. We have planned. We have turned our home into a trap. When they come, they will face humanity united, humanity armed, humanity ready to defend what is ours. They attacked our home once. We made them pay. They come again. We will teach them the true cost of that mistake. Across human space, people watched. Soldiers checked their weapons. Pilots climbed into their fighters. Gunners manned their stations. Everyone knew their role. Everyone understood what was at stake. The galaxy was about to witness something it had never seen before. Humanity pushed to the edge. Humanity with nothing to lose. Humanity fighting for survival. The storm was coming, and humanity was ready. Battlefleet 73 emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. 500 warships appeared in perfect formation. Their shields glowed. Their weapons charged. Admiral Dralvex sat in his command chair, confident and calm. Scan the system, he ordered. Show me their defenses. His officers worked their stations. Data appeared on screens. They found human ships near Earth, military platforms around the major planets, standard defensive positions. Nothing impressive. Nothing that could stop 500 Council warships. They know we are here, his communications officer reported. Should we broadcast the surrender terms? Dralvex nodded. The message went out on all frequencies. Surrender within 1 hour. Give up your weapons. Accept Council rule. Or face complete destruction. He expected fear, pleas for mercy, desperate attempts to negotiate. Instead, he received a message from General Kang Minho. The human general appeared on his screen. His face was hard. His eyes cold. He did not look afraid. He looked angry. You attacked our home. You killed our people. You came to our system thinking we were prey. We are not. Leave now. Or learn why humanity survived when nothing on Earth wanted us to. Dralvex laughed. He actually laughed. The arrogance of these primitives amused him. Advance the fleet. Show them what real power looks like. The Council fleet moved forward. They passed the orbit of Neptune. Nothing happened. They entered the Kuiper Belt where the outer solar system began. Still nothing. Dralvex smiled. They were bluffing. As he expected. Then the asteroids began to move. Thousands of objects that looked like rocks suddenly activated. They were weapons platforms. Each one had been hiding for 2 months, cold and dark, waiting for this moment. Now they powered up and opened fire. Solid projectiles accelerated to incredible speeds. They moved so fast they became invisible. The Council ships detected them only when they hit. And when they hit, shields meant nothing. The projectiles were solid matter moving at nearly the speed of light. Pure kinetic energy. A Council cruiser exploded. Then another. Then 3 more. The automated platforms fired continuously. Each shot was precise. Each hit was devastating. In 5 minutes, 50 Council ships died. Return fire. Destroy those platforms, Dralvex shouted. His calm was gone. This was not supposed to happen. The Council ships unleashed their weapons. Energy beams sliced through space. Missiles launched by the hundreds. The weapons platforms began to die. But they had done their job. They had drawn blood. They had shown that humans could hurt the mighty Council fleet, and they had delayed the fleet long enough for the next trap. As the Council ships reached Neptune, Admiral Park Ji-won gave the order. Hidden behind Neptune's moons, carrier groups activated. Human warships emerged from concealment, and from their bays flew fighters, hundreds of fighters. Lieutenant Kim Doyen led Raptor Squadron into battle. His new fighter responded to his thoughts as much as his hands. The quantum drive made it impossibly fast. The weapons could punch through any shield. He smiled as he targeted his first enemy ship. Raptor Squadron, engage. Make them regret coming here. The human fighters swarmed the Council fleet. They were small, fast, agile. The large Council ships tried to track them but could not keep up. The fighters dodged between capital ships. They fired at close range. They targeted engines, weapons, shield generators. Council fighters launched to intercept. But the human pilots were better. They had trained every day for 2 months. They knew every maneuver. They fought with precision and fury. For every human fighter lost, 3 council ships were disabled. Doyen's squadron alone destroyed 4 cruisers and a carrier. They moved like ghosts, struck like thunder, disappeared before the enemy could respond. The council had never faced anything like them. Admiral Dralvex watched his fleet take losses. Already 100 ships gone. But he still had 400. Numbers would win. They always did. Push forward. All ships advance to Earth. Ignore the fighters. Focus on the planet. The Council fleet accelerated toward the inner solar system. They left behind the burning wrecks of their own ships. They left behind the human fighters that harassed their rear guard. They focused on their goal, Earth, the human homeworld. Once it fell, the war was over. They crossed the asteroid belt, and Dr. Hansu-Jin activated her quantum entanglement network. Across the solar system, quantum beacons activated. They created a field that disrupted hyperspace travel. Any ship within the solar system could no longer jump to faster than light speed. They were trapped. They had to fight. They had to win. There was no escape. But that was not all the quantum system did. Dr. Sujin had created something new, something terrible. Warheads that existed in quantum superposition. They were everywhere and nowhere until they were observed. And she chose to observe them inside council ships. Council vessels began exploding from within. No warning, no defense. One moment a ship was fine. The next moment it tore itself apart from internal explosions. Shields did nothing. Armor did nothing. The explosions came from inside the ships themselves. In 10 minutes, another 100 council ships died. The fleet was in chaos. Crews panicked. Officers shouted conflicting orders. They had never encountered such weapons. They had no tactics to counter them. Admiral Dralvex realized the truth. He was not fighting a defensive battle. He was fighting for survival. All ships retreat! Emergency jump. But the quantum field prevented escape. His ships tried to activate their hyperspace drives. The drives failed. They were trapped in a system with an enemy that was killing them with weapons they could not understand. For the first time in his long career, Admiral Dralvex felt fear. Forward, then, he said quietly. If we cannot escape, we complete the mission. All ships maximum speed to Earth. We destroy their homeworld or we die trying. The remaining council ships, now fewer than 200, made one final push. They charged toward Earth with desperate courage. They would complete their mission. The council demanded it. Their honor demanded it. They reached the moon, and General Kang activated his final weapon. The lunar surface split open. Hidden doors that had been built over 2 months slid aside. From inside the moon emerged the largest weapon humanity had ever built, a mass driver the size of a city. It had been constructed in secret deep within the lunar interior. The mass driver fired. Projectiles the size of skyscrapers launched at impossible speeds. They crossed the space between moon and council fleet in seconds. When they hit, entire ships disintegrated. Not destroyed, not damaged, simply ceased to exist. The mass driver fired again and again. Each shot killed multiple ships. The council fleet tried to evade. But the targeting was perfect. Dr. Sujin's quantum computers calculated every trajectory. Nothing escaped. Admiral Dralvex watched his fleet die. His magnificent battle fleet 73, 500 ships. The pride of the council military. Now less than 50 remained. And they were all about to die. His flagship shuddered as projectiles struck nearby. Systems failed. Hull breaches opened to vacuum. Crew died at their stations. The ship was breaking apart around him. He sent one final message to the Galactic Council. They were not primitive. They were waiting. They knew we were coming. And they were ready. We have awakened something terrible. Then the mass driver fired one last time. The projectile hit his flagship directly. Admiral Dralvex, the Unconquered, the legendary, died instantly. His ship became debris. The last of Battle Fleet 73 was gone. The Battle of Sol was over. 500 Council warships destroyed. Humanity victorious. But the cost was high. Hundreds of thousands dead. Cities damaged. Infrastructure destroyed. The solar system was filled with debris and bodies. General Kang stood in his command center, watching the displays go dark as the last enemy signals disappeared. Around him, officers cheered. They hugged each other. Some cried with relief. They had won. Against impossible odds, they had won. But Kang did not celebrate. He knew this was only the beginning. The Galactic Council would not accept this defeat. They would come again, with more ships, more weapons, more determination. He opened a communication channel. All human forces, listen carefully. We have won a great victory today, but the war is not over. The Council will not forgive this. They will not forget. We must prepare for what comes next. He paused, then continued. But let them come. Let them send their fleets. Let them try to break us. We have proven something today. We have shown the galaxy that humanity cannot be conquered, cannot be enslaved, cannot be destroyed. We are here. We will stay here, and we will fight for every meter of space we call home. Across human space, the message was received. The species that had been attacked, the species that should have lost, the species that had fought back and won, humanity had announced itself to the galaxy, not as victims, but as warriors, and the galaxy would never forget. News of Battlefleet 73's destruction reached Nexus Prime 3 days later. The council chambers erupted in chaos. High Chancellor Vex Thor stood silent as the other council members shouted. Some demanded immediate action. Others wanted to understand how this had happened. A few suggested the unthinkable. Peace with humanity, 500 ships. Councillor Relseth screamed. 500 of our best warships destroyed by primitives. This cannot stand. We must gather every fleet, every ship. Destroy them completely, Ambassador Kirillin spoke calmly. Perhaps we should negotiate. The humans have proven they can defend themselves. Why waste more lives? Negotiate? Ralseth turned on her. The Council does not negotiate with species we intended to conquer. If we do, every species in the galaxy will think they can resist us. Our authority will collapse. Vex Thor finally raised his hand for silence. The Varlan Councillor is correct. If we show weakness now, our empire will crumble. But he is also wrong. We cannot simply send more ships. The humans have proven too dangerous for conventional tactics. He looked around the chamber. We will call a general mobilization. Every council species will contribute ships. Every client species will provide support. We will assemble a fleet so large the humans cannot possibly resist. 15,000 ships, the largest armada in galactic history, and we will personally lead it. The council voted. This time, even more members supported war. Only Kirillin voted against it. The decision was made. The council would gather its full strength. They would crush humanity, and they would do it in a way that no other species would ever dare resist them again. But while the council debated and planned, General Kang was already acting. He knew defense alone would not save humanity. They needed to attack, to disrupt, to spread fear and confusion among their enemies. He called it Operation Prometheus, and he gave command to Admiral Park Ji-won. We cannot match their numbers, Kang told her, but we can make them afraid. Strike their supply lines, destroy their bases, show them that even if they win, the cost will be terrible. Park studied the star maps. The council controlled thousands of systems, but their empire was spread thin. Many of their bases were lightly defended. Many of their supply routes were predictable. We will need fast ships, small strike teams, and perfect intelligence. You will have them, Kang promised. The first human raid hit a council supply depot 2 weeks after the Battle of Seoul. Lieutenant Kim Doyen led Raptor Squadron deep into council space. They jumped in without warning, destroyed the depot, jumped out before reinforcements could arrive. The entire raid took 12 minutes. The second raid destroyed a communications hub. The third took out a military academy. The fourth hit a shipyard. Each raid was surgical, fast, brutal. The humans left behind messages, simple words that spread across the galaxy. Earth remembers. Earth does not forgive. The council tried to respond. They deployed patrol fleets. They reinforced their bases. They increased security everywhere. But the humans were too fast, too unpredictable. They struck where defenses were weak. They avoided strong positions. They fought like ghosts, and something else began to happen, something the council feared even more than military defeats. Other species started to resist. During one raid on a mining colony, Admiral Park discovered the workers were slaves. The Kralix, an insectoid species that had been conquered 3 centuries ago. They had been forced to mine valuable minerals for the council, treated as property, killed when they were no longer useful. Park made a decision. Instead of just destroying the facility, she freed the slaves. She offered them a choice. Stay here and return to slavery, or come with us and fight for your freedom. Every single Krelix chose freedom. Word spread quickly. The humans did not just fight for themselves. They freed others. They offered hope. Across the galaxy, enslaved species began to whisper, to plan, to dream of freedom. The Vorn, a warrior culture impressed by human combat skill, secretly approached Earth. They offered military advisors and access to their shipyards. The Quelix, peaceful traders tired of council taxation, provided intelligence about council fleet movements. The Morel, scientists forced to work for the council, shared advanced technology. Ambassador Kira Lin coordinated these contacts from the shadows. She provided human forces with information about which species were most likely to rebel, which systems had weak council control, which resistance movements were ready to act. The council watched their empire begin to crack. Small rebellions broke out on a dozen worlds. Supply convoys were attacked by local resistance fighters. Council governors were assassinated. Military garrisons faced riots and sabotage. High Chancellor Vexthor tried to maintain control. He sent troops to crush rebellions. He executed resistors publicly. He made examples of entire planets. But it did not stop. The more he suppressed, the more species resisted. Humanity had shown them that the Council could be hurt, could be defeated, and that was enough. After 3 months of raids and uprisings, Vexthor made a broadcast. His image appeared on every screen in Council space. His voice carried across the galaxy. The humans are a threat to galactic peace. They spread chaos and rebellion. They refuse to accept Council authority. Therefore, we declare them enemies of all civilized species. Any who aid them will face the same fate. Humanity will be destroyed completely. Every human world. Every human ship. Every human life. This is our final warning. But the message had the opposite effect. Species that had been considering alliance with humanity now committed fully. They reasoned that the Council would eventually target them anyway. Better to fight alongside humans than wait to be destroyed alone. The Krelix formally joined Earth. They brought thousands of workers skilled in building ships and weapons. The Vorn provided battle commanders and training programs. Even some Council member species, the younger generations who questioned their leaders, began secret talks with humanity. On Earth, General Kang watched his network of allies grow. He had not expected this. The original plan was simple survival. Defend Earth. Make the cost too high for the Council to continue. But now something bigger was happening. A coalition was forming, not a formal alliance, but a loose network of resistance, all inspired by humanity's refusal to submit. Commander Lee Hanna ran the intelligence operations. She coordinated with resistance cells across the galaxy. She shared tactical information. She helped plan coordinated strikes, and she made sure every success was broadcast widely. Let the galaxy see that the Council could be beaten. But Kang knew the biggest battle was still coming. The Council was gathering their grand fleet, 15,000 ships, more firepower than had ever been assembled in one place. They would not make the mistakes of the previous fleets. They would not underestimate humanity again. Dr. Han Soo-jin worked day and night developing new weapons. The quantum systems had worked once. They might not work again. The Council would have adapted. Found countermeasures. She needed something new. Something unexpected. Late one night, she made a breakthrough. She found Kang in his office studying fleet dispositions. "General, I need to show you something." She brought up a holographic display. It showed Earth, the Moon, the entire solar system, and then it showed something else. A network of quantum bombs buried deep in Earth's crust, connected to a single trigger. If they try to destroy Earth, we can make the planet itself explode. The blast would be large enough to take their fleet with us. Kang stared at the display. A dead man's switch. They destroy us, we destroy them. Mutually assured destruction. Yes, but I hope we never have to use it. So do I, Kang said quietly. Then he smiled. It was not a happy smile. But I have a better idea. What if we do not wait for them to come to us? What if we go to them? Soo-jin looked confused. Go to them? You mean attack their fleet? No, I mean attack Nexus Prime itself. While their grand fleet is coming here, we strike at their capital. We take the fight to the council chambers. We make them understand that no one is safe. Not even them, Soo-jin thought about it. Then she nodded slowly. It is insane. It might get us all killed, but it might also work. That is humanity, Kang said. We try the insane plans, because sometimes they work. He called his senior officers, Admiral Park, Commander Lee, Lieutenant Kim Doyen, now promoted to captain. They gathered in the war room. Kang showed them his plan. Attack Nexus Prime, capture the Council, force them to negotiate. Park studied the tactical displays. It is suicide. Their defenses are incredible. Even with all our ships, we would be outnumbered. Unless we time it perfectly, Lee suggested. Their grand fleet is gathering. That means Nexus Prime's defenses are weaker than they have been in centuries. Most of their ships are being pulled to join the attack on Earth. Doyen grinned. So while they prepare to attack our home, we attack theirs. I like it. When do we leave? Kang looked at each of them. These officers who had fought beside him, who had trusted him, who were ready to follow him into the heart of enemy territory. 2 weeks. We gather our fleet, our allies, every ship that can fly, and we show the Council what happens when they attack humanity's home. We attack theirs. The Grand Fleet gathered at the edge of Council space. 15,000 warships from dozens of species. High Chancellor Vexthor stood on the command deck of his personal dreadnought. Around him, holographic displays showed the massive fleet. It was beautiful, terrifying, unstoppable. We move in 3 days, he announced. The humans will face the full might of galactic civilization. Their defiance ends. Their species ends. The galaxy will remember this lesson for 10,000 years. What Vexthor did not know was that the humans were not waiting for him. While he gathered his fleet, Admiral Park Ji-won was leading humanity's own armada toward Nexus Prime itself. 500 human warships, 200 Kralik support vessels, 100 Vorn battlecruisers, dozens of ships from other species that had joined the resistance. It was not 15,000 ships, but it was enough. Because Nexus Prime was nearly undefended, Ambassador Kirillin had provided detailed intelligence, security rotations, defense positions, weak points in the station's shields, everything humanity needed to plan their attack. She had risked her life to gather this information. Now it was time to see if it would work. General Kang stood on the bridge of the flagship Indomitable. Around him, his officers prepared for battle. This was the moment everything had been building toward. Win here and they could force peace. Lose here, and humanity would be destroyed. All ships, he broadcast. We are about to attack the heart of the Galactic Council. Many of us will not survive, but those who do will see a new galaxy, one where species are free, where the strong do not enslave the weak, where justice matters more than power. Today we fight not just for humanity. We fight for every species that has suffered under Council rule. We fight for freedom itself. The fleet jumped to hyperspace. They emerged directly above Nexus Prime. Alarms blared across the station. Council security forces scrambled to respond. But they were too few, too unprepared. Most of their strength was with the Grand Fleet. Captain Kim Doyen led the first strike. Raptor Squadron screamed through space toward the station's shield generators. Defense platforms opened fire. Energy beams filled the darkness. But the human pilots were too skilled. Too fast, they dodged between shots, returned fire with precision. The first shield generator exploded, then the second, then the third. Nexus Prime's shields began to fail. Sections of the station were exposed, vulnerable. All ships concentrate fire on the exposed sections, Admiral Park ordered. Breach the hull. Prepare boarding teams. Human warships pounded the station with everything they had. Railguns fired. Missiles launched. Quantum weapons tore at the station structure. The mighty Nexus Prime, symbol of Council power for 10 millennia, was burning. Hull breaches opened. Boarding pods launched from human ships. They slammed into the station. Hatches blew open. Marines poured inside. Commander Cho Min-seo led the assault. She was young but fierce. Her troops followed her without hesitation. They fought through corridors, trading fire with Council security. Each meter gained was paid for in blood. But they kept advancing. Council soldiers fought well. They were defending their home, their leadership, their way of life. But the human Marines had something more powerful than training. They had rage at the species that attacked Earth, that killed their people, that tried to enslave humanity. Cho's team reached a major junction. Ahead lay the path to the Council chambers. Behind them, more human troops secured their retreat. Forward, she ordered. We end this today. Meanwhile, in the council chambers, the remaining members watched in horror. Their screens showed human ships outside, human soldiers inside. Their perfect station was falling. Recall the Grand Fleet, Councillor Ralseth screamed. They must come back. Defend us. It will take them days to return, Ambassador Kirillin said calmly. By then this will be over. Ralseth turned on her. You helped them. Traitor! Kirillin did not deny it. I helped them because they were right. The council has become corrupt, cruel. We forgot that power must be tempered with justice. The humans came to remind us. Before Ralseth could respond, the chamber doors exploded. Commander Cho and her Marines burst in. Weapons ready, faces hard, they spread out covering all exits. Behind them came more troops, and then General Kang himself. He walked calmly to the center of the chamber, looked at each council member. These beings who had ruled the galaxy for so long, who had decided the fate of billions, who had thought themselves untouchable. High Chancellor Vexthor stood. How dare you? We are the Galactic Council. You cannot simply invade our chambers. We have rights. Protections under galactic law. Kang's expression did not change. Did Earth have rights when your fleets attacked? Did our civilians have protections when they were killed? You attacked our home. Now we are in yours. Sit down. Something in his voice made Vexthor sit. For the first time in his long existence, the High Chancellor felt fear. Kang activated the chamber's broadcast systems. His next words would be transmitted across the entire galaxy, to every species, every world. Everyone would hear what humanity had to say. I am General Kang Minho of Earth. I speak for humanity. And I speak for every species that has suffered under council rule. You attacked our home. You killed our people. You tried to enslave us. We tried to ignore you. We tried to hide. You would not let us. So now we are here. He paused. Let his words sink in. Across the galaxy, billions watched, listened. For 10,000 years, the Council has ruled through fear, through force, through cruelty. They conquered species that could not defend themselves, enslaved populations, extracted resources, and called it order, called it civilization. I call it tyranny. Councillor Ralseth stood. You primitive savage. You know nothing of galactic governance. The Council maintains peace, prevents wars, creates prosperity. Peace? Kang's voice was cold. Is that what you call it when you bomb civilian populations? Prosperity? Is that what slaves call their condition? You created peace only for yourselves. Everyone else lived in fear. He turned back to the broadcast. But today that ends. We are not here to conquer. We are not here to replace one tyranny with another. We are here to offer a choice. Freedom or submission. Peace or war. A new system or the death of the old one. Ambassador Kirillin stepped forward. She held data crystals. I have spent centuries documenting council crimes. War crimes, genocide, slavery, theft. All of it recorded. All of it verified. If the council refuses to change, this evidence will be shared with every species in the galaxy. Several council members looked shocked. Others looked afraid. A few looked defeated. They knew what that evidence would mean. Their authority would collapse. Their species would face judgment. Everything they had built would fall. Kang continued. Here are our terms. The council system is dissolved. All enslaved species are freed immediately. A new democratic federation is established. Every species has equal voice, equal rights, equal protection under law, war crimes tribunals for those who committed atrocities, and permanent restrictions on any species using military force for conquest. Vexthor laughed bitterly. Impossible. The council will never accept such terms. We would rather die. That can be arranged, Kang said. But before you refuse, consider this. Your Grand Fleet is days away. We control this station. We can destroy it at any time. And across the galaxy, rebellions are breaking out. Species are rising up. Your empire is already falling. The only question is whether you fall fighting or fall negotiating. Silence filled the chamber. Council members looked at each other. Some with defiance, some with uncertainty, a few with resignation. They were beaten and they knew it. One counselor stood. An elder from a species humanity had never seen before. I vote to accept the human terms. The council has lost its way. Perhaps it is time for something new. Another stood. I agree. We cannot win this war, and perhaps we should not. More stood. One by one, not all. But enough. The council was splitting. Vexthor saw his authority crumbling. He tried to maintain order, to rally his supporters, but it was too late. Then something unexpected happened. The chamber alarms blared. Ships were approaching, but not the Grand Fleet. These were smaller vessels, resistance fighters, ships from liberated species. They had come to support humanity, to witness the end of the old order. Admiral Park's voice came through Kang's communicator. "General, the Grand Fleet has recalled.
They are not attacking.
They are requesting permission to approach peacefully. They want to negotiate." Kang allowed himself a small smile. "Grant permission. But keep weapons ready. Trust must be earned." He turned back to the council. "You have a choice to make. Accept our terms, help build something better, or refuse and watch everything you built burn. Decide now." High Chancellor Vexthor sat in his chair. For 10,000 years his kind had ruled. Now it was ending. He could fight, order his supporters to resist, die defending the old ways, or he could accept change, try to shape the future rather than cling to the past. He looked at Kang, at this human who had done the impossible, who had united the galaxy against its rulers, who had shown that courage and determination could overcome even the greatest power. "Very well," Vexthor said quietly. "We will negotiate. But know this, human. Building a new order is far harder than destroying the old one. You will learn that lesson soon enough." Kang nodded. "Then let us learn it together."